Okay. Alrighty, righty. Hopefully, this is fine. I think my little dudes. Let me bring this lower. Okay, this is probably fine. I should pop that. There we go. Okay. I think the real test is whether or not I end up dropping frames. I'm not convinced the internet here is as good as I would need it to, but so far so good. I am temporarily out of town, but by temporary I mean like long enough to like do a whole setup here. So I'll be gone for like 2 weeks, and then I'll be home again, and then I can stream from my usual place. Um, but I am house sitting. Why isn't anything happening? Oh, because I'm using the eraser. Doy doy. So today's kind of an experiment. I'm mostly just seeing how well it does, but also I do need to get some work done. I'm a little bit behind just because this trip and a few other factors. And I want to try to catch up. I would like to be putting out a page a day if I can. And by putting out, I mean just finishing because I'm not gonna be the one putting these out. Today I'm starting off just primarily getting some corrections done on these pages because I decided last minute that I wanted to have the kind of panels where these electronic doors open up to be flipped onto the other side. So I'm just trying to make that correction real quick. Like these characters are still in here and everything. But otherwise I'm done with this page. Maybe a little bit of cleanup. And then I'm done with the next page with a little bit of cleanup. I can move on to the next one. These are pencils, so this is already way too clean. But that's okay. I like it that way, I think. I feel like one day I'm gonna get tired of being clean without it. Ah, yes, hello, traffic. Okay. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. A lot of trucks. You might hear some kind of clamping, clacking behind me too. There's a window with the blind down. I guess if I'm not doing the camera, I might as well just open that up though. Actually, I'll be right back. I was gonna do the camera, and then I thought about it, and like, I don't think the people I'm house sitting would really appreciate having that running live and in public, and like, they're just kind of private. So, I decided against it. Let's get the house on air now, baby. I don't want to. I don't need coffee. I had coffee. Sorry, one second. I'm just gonna fix my hair real quick. I got these foam clamps and been way more comfortable than the ponytails, but one started slipping out. Okay. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm well. Um I know I'm speaking to something of an empty audience right now, but you know what, chat? We also talk to the future here on stream. And the future tells me that some of y'all might be noticing my perspective is off on some of these things, but you know what? I don't care. Because it looks good. And perfectionism is a beast, and I'm gonna let it go. I feel like I gotta make this Gator guy still more different than one of the other characters. I'm gonna hold off on that for now, because it wouldn't really be that much work to do something like add an extra eye or something, maybe like right in the middle of his face. Ooh, actually, that'd be kind of cool. I'll think about it. Anyway, because I like his design, but he's like my default for like, just throw something together. I don't really care. I mean, I care, but like, I don't know. You can really do a lot of quick organic stuff with more animal looking characters, and I got a lot of elbow room with these guys because there's not really a whole lot of humans in this story. How fresh is this? Ugh. I don't like that. Nope. Where's my mechanical pencil? Wait, yeah, where's my mechanical pencil? Hold up. I gotta find this. This is gonna bug me. I'm also working on my laptop, which I've not worked on for a little while, so everything's just in a slightly different place, and it's driving me nuts. Okay. Because my desktop is different. Oh, Brendan. You have so many things. Try this one. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. It will do. It do be doing. I suppose I probably should put on some kind of music for you guys. It's just like I've got my own thing playing right now, and I don't really feel like doing a lot of hunting. I'm already, you know, so far into my day. What is speaking, really? Think about it. What are thoughts? Happening at the same time that words are coming out of my mouth. Some of these corrections are definitely going to be something I care more about when it's time to do the inks. So long as my client sees what I'm doing and trusts me to kick ass, and I do believe he do, then I think we're good. Oh, I should probably tell him I'm streaming. Maybe we'll do it for the next one, because he likes to watch, I think. He also has, like, other work to do, so he might not be able to join a lot, but I think because I'm testing out to see if this even works, and oh, I should check in when he wants that meeting. Who's texting me? Oh shoot, I haven't checked my email in a few days. Oh, I should do that. Uh-oh. Caps lock on. Sorry guys, I'm having like a real ADD moment. Just give me a second just to make sure I'm not missing anything really important. Looks like the answer is I'm in the clear. Okay. Cool. Just making sure. Wow, Instagram really wants me to use threads. It's not gonna happen. I just don't care. Okay. Why? Why is this on the lower layer? Did I just move that? Do, do, do. Okay. Oh my god. Sorry guys, 1 second. There's like something in my eye. Like a little bit of everything today. Oh my god. I feel like every single time I've streamed the last few times, there's been something that's just horribly distracting and I've not been able to sit down. So I'm gonna go and take care of whatever's in my eye and grab myself something to drink and I'm gonna come back and sit down and like really focus. Okay. BRB. I return. I have La Croix and beef jerky. I'm being so very, very healthy today. And by that I mean I had a really sugary coffee, I didn't finish eating breakfast, and now I'm having La Croix and beef jerky. Oh, hello, Winnemere. Sorry, you guys probably can't hear this. There's a little dog, and her name is Winnie. And she is, oh gosh, she's stinky. Why is your mouth gross? I gave you greenies. Winnie girl. They're mad. There's two of them. They're mad because, no, you can't have this. Go down. I'm not giving them beef jerky. And that's a problem, you see. Because, oh, they've already had breakfast today. Oh, geez, Louise. You're simply not enough. We must have your beef jerky. Drama queens. Scoot. You're in my way. Scoot. Come on. Scoot. Scoot. Girl, you gotta move. Thank you. Okay. Maybe I make my own beef jerky. I'm a little surprised how well this is holding up. Like, I think the quality's okay too. I'm gonna check that. No, Winnie. Yeah, it looks okay. Alright, cool. Not the most exciting stream I've done, but it's also like 2 p.m. on a Monday, so this is mostly just so that I can test this out. Like, I still put out the advert for fellow Discorders, but I'm not necessarily expecting. I guess I never really do expect though. Okay. Okay. Is this good enough? Nearly. Okay. That was before. Pretty blissfully. Oh, I made these skinnier too. I mean, that's been consistent through the change though, so I think that's fine. Okay. Like, I like the original drawing better, but it's also like compositionally later on is going to be a little bit more of a not like an issue. It's a really small detail, but I'll know. And it's also like way too finished looking for what I'm doing. Want this to be good enough to where if I show this to my client, he'll go like, "Oh yeah, that looks really good," and I'll be like, "Thank you," and that's what we'll both sound like exactly. Okay, let's save that one. Oh, where's my mouse going? There it is. Okay, and did I finish the other page? If I didn't, they got really close. Oh yeah. Yeah, okay. Finish these doors. I don't want to revisit this panel. I'm gonna leave this for now and move on to the next one. Save this right page here. 4. I know you guys can't hear the music, sorry. Okay. Okay. Got room to make this a little wider. I want to make it wider as a whole. Actually, yeah, kind of. Okay. I'm a little frustrated. The template that I used for these layouts is supposed to be the same size as the template that I'm using for the final page, and it's made by the same person, and the width is off. And like, it's not a huge deal, but it feels like it kinda is though. You know what I mean? Okay. And let's save. And panel. Where's my mouse? There it is. Awesome. It's awesome. Awesome. Sorry. Okay. I need this one. Gonna create a big old frame. Just go on in here to my safety zone and making one big old frame. Boink. Ooh, it's off. Okay. Okay. Where's the move object button? I wish to move object. You in here? There you are. Whoa, oh. Not what I wanted. Hmm. Okay. Oh, shoot. What size was this? Okay. Oh, this is annoying. Okay. It was, I think, like 11? Why? Why is it like that? Hmm. This is different. Why is it doing that? Maybe I'll go down. Uh-huh. Let's do maybe. Why are these different sizes? I know why these are different sizes. Okay. I'm just a big goofball. Yeah. believe I'm dealing with this. It's so stupid. So let's try 20. Should have written this down. Yeah, it looks about right. Okay. Do, 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 do. And let's go to 50%. And here we're at 5. Yeah, close enough. No. Wait, cancel. Okay, and what's that spacing? That's gotta be 50, right? Hey, I am streaming. I'm struggling a little bit because I'm on a different workstation than usual. Okay, so it's gotta be bigger. And I have to reset a bunch of stuff, and I didn't think about that before jumping in today. But I'm out of town for a couple of weeks, so I have to take care of this. I can't just like put it aside till I get back. So speculating, that looks really close. Is it close enough? Yes. I think I can fix it later if it's not right, so. Okay. Woo! So, sorry that there's no music. Like I said, I'm still kind of setting up a new station here, and I didn't feel like hunting. Oh gosh, did I mute myself? Sorry, I have in the past done that. I'm good. Okay, cool. No, I'm chatting. I'm just not, uh, putting on music. I'm totally, absolutely happy to chat. This is a real stream, don't get me wrong. This is also kind of a test to see how the internet holds up, and, you know, there's a couple of differences. I have recently been, like, streaming with my webcam on, and because I'm in a different house, I figured I would respect their privacy and not stream with my camera on. And, I haven't gone hunting for music yet because like I had all these things set up on the other computer and I didn't make it syncable and I just didn't feel like hunting. But yeah. Hang out, chat, draw with me. I now have this setup ready to go. I can actually do the thing. I think I got all the right sizes, so I can like relax a little bit and get these panels in. How are you doing? You're all right? Yeah, I do. I've been doing freelance. Yeah. Um, I this foray. Anyway, I've been dipping my toes into comics more. Um, and I have a client, and it's really exciting because it's my first professional comic client. I've done um I've self-published once before, like 10 or so years ago, and maybe a little bit less, more than now, and like it's way different. Um, where's my pencil? I want my good pencil. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Okay. Um, I um I honestly lucked out. There was actually a lot of luck in this particular case. There's a forum called Pencil Jack, and actually I'll share it with you because it's seems like a lot of cool people there. It's very slow because it's a like classic forum. Um and yeah, let me share it 1 second. Oh, you didn't have to retract the question. I think it's a good question. Um, I'm gonna share this. Oh shoot, I haven't been here in months, but the people there are really supportive, and they seem to really enjoy everything that they're into as far as like comics and feedback and everything. I think some of the people there are like professionals, which is cool. But I went to their bulletin, their job board bulletin once on a whim one day, and I saw an advertisement, and the advert was um, like cool, exactly what I wanted. It was perfect. And the other bit of luck was that it turns out that the person who was posting the advert is also kind of local. I live in Los Angeles, and it turns out that he also lived in the area, and that was just like, yes, we can like talk face to face too, which is really exciting. Um, and so that's how I got that one. It was definitely luck. As far as my experience freelancing, it's honestly a bit of a roller coaster as far as like a career path is concerned, because I didn't really stick to one thing, and I probably should have. And I don't mean like, don't paint or don't whatever, but like I was going back and forth between like, oh, do I want to get in the animation industry? Do I want to get into working on comics? I'm gonna work with my friend on his 18 plus role playing game, like video game on other platforms for a while, and would that be something that I want to get into? Will it help fund my time to work on a portfolio? The answer was no. I mean, yes, it funded my time, but I did not really utilize it intelligently. I couldn't really make any decisions. It was just I was floating everywhere. Um, and eventually I just kind of got sick of floating everywhere and started to step away from everything a little bit to reassess. And over the last couple of years, I've been making some major changes in my life, and also being forced to make major changes in my life. So um, that's kind of where that came from. I've done a lot of other jobs. Like freelance didn't support me 100% of the way all the time. I also teach. Um, and I've done retail and all the other stuff. Like you got to do what you got to do at points, right? For crowdfunding, another great question. So I've done my own crowd, not like by myself, but my partner and I we have crowdfunded a video game. It was a visual novel. I actually hesitate to call it a video game because my definition of games are maybe a little strict, but it is definitely an art form in which you experience with choices. It's a little bit more like a choose your own adventure book than it is a game, but it's a visual novel. Excuse me, sorry, taking a sip. It's a dating sim called Animal Lover, and the name's a joke. It's kind of like a Princess and the Frog kind of situation. There's a vet tech who finds out that one of the animals that she's supposed to bring in for an appointment, a hamster, is actually a prince who was cursed. And he's like, yeah, by the way, there's probably like a bunch of us actually. And it turns out that there are kind of a bunch of dudes who are all forced into this cursed, animal form. And it's up to her and also them to figure out how they can transform them back permanently. And also, why were they like that? And mysteries and stuff. And it mostly comes down to being a story about, like, forgiveness and emotions and a bunch of other stuff. But we crowdfunded that on Kickstarter, like 10 years ago now. Oh, geez, I think this is actually the 10th anniversary. Oh, we didn't do anything for it! Oh, shoot. Speaking of anniversaries, oh, shit, yesterday was mine! Oh, no! In my defense, he didn't say anything either. I'll have to call him today. Anyway, crowdfunding that was definitely a learning experience, and what I learned is that you should not go in without having built up an audience first, and we really lucked out. Like, hard lucked out. There was, somebody who was fairly well off, who seemed really intrigued by the project, and was chatting up with, my partner, and they seemed to get on really well, and without any prompting or asking or anything, they just dropped the money for us, which was exceedingly kind. It was kind of life-changing, honestly, and I don't think we've ever heard from this person ever again. They just swooped in, did that, and left. It seemed like maybe they might have been sick too, and there was just not any way that we could reach out to find out who this person really was. And I mean, I hope if she's still out there, like, I'd love to chat. But yeah, that was wild. Like, after that though, I've also we did a Kickstarter kind of recently for a game that my partner's been working on, the Rule of Inverse Ninjas, which is now becoming Inverse Ninjas versus the Public Domain. I think he's got like a million names for it, and I keep mixing them up. I don't think this needs to be at that perspective. Maybe I should tilt it more if I'm gonna do that. But that one didn't really work out. There's a lot of different factors for that we just didn't really account for. It got to be a little bit rushed, but between those two experiences, I've also kind of helped other people set up theirs just based off of what I was able to learn, and now I'm just working on this, which may also end up experiencing some crowdfunding. It looks like we're heading in that direction. I'm not going to say too much more on it than that. And I've got my own projects I'm looking to find some sort of crowdsourcing for eventually, but I think for that I'm probably going to do Patreon once I actually, like, get to it. But that's kind of a rough sum up of everything. Is it something that you're interested in getting into, like publishing or self-publishing or like crowdsourcing or whatever? Because I've seen you around on some of the other Discord chats, not Discord chats, sorry, YouTube things. I think you're on the Discord too, right? But I don't think you and I have had a chance to chat one-on-one. Wait, no, we have. You've been on my stream. You have. Listen, I'm so frazzled today. Like, I am, I am feeling it, Mr. Krabs. The ADD is real, and the medication is not. You're using ellipses. Like you have uncertainty. Or questions, or a lack of confidence in your endeavors. Talk to me, Jacobo. What's on your mind? And forgive me if I belch. I am drinking a carbonated drink. Ah. That is a mood, my friend. I get it. I mean, to be fair, comic books are illustration. It's just a lot of illustration. Um, I've been really enjoying what little I've been doing recently. Um, but, lack of direction. That's a tough one. Um, Mostly because it involves a lot of introspection and experimentation on your part, and I can only point at things and say, "Have you tried this one though? Have you tried doing this?" But like, I mean, I've been there, dude, and like super recently, I've been there. Um, it's kind of tough to get into. One of the things I actually found really helpful for me, and I want to make it clear, like I came from some serious like a decade of a lack of direction. Like I didn't know what I wanted. I thought that I did know what I want. I thought I was working on something that was leading me to what I wanted. I thought the path I was on, though I wasn't really thrilled with it, was something that would help me. I ended up doing a lot of things for other people in the hopes that maybe it would shine a light on something that would seem like a path for me, which is not really a way I would recommend going about it. I ended up because I was choosing things that were like, well, I haven't done this yet, or um, well, this is helping me now, but I wasn't happy doing it. Um, it didn't really vibe with me, if that makes sense. It didn't feel like the fit that I wanted it. And there was this sort of idea that I had, like, well, you have to sometimes take on jobs that you don't like in order to do things that you will. And that's true sometimes. And not necessarily true all the time. And um when I finally decided to take a step back, let go of a bunch of these things, and only work on something that I enjoyed because I thought it was fun. Like I started to piece together some of my own comics. I'm still piecing them together, to be honest. I didn't even get that far into them, but things started to click, and I started to realize, oh, I have fun doing this though. And then eventually it came to, I bet you I could find work doing this. I'm good at things. But yeah, and studio work is good. I mean, they absolutely offer stability. I moved away from working for other people because I had only been working for other people for so long that I was desperate for some breathing room. And I never really worked for any big name studios or anything, but like it was still kind of stifling. Um so like I'm not telling you that you shouldn't do it, because there's absolutely a lot of merit to it, and I think having that stability gives you the breathing room to sort out your feelings and figure out, like, okay, do I need a path? Do I need to address a thing about myself? Do I need to maybe rotate this character around because he looks like he's at a different perspective than everything else? I think I do. And I mean, I found that through just focusing on the jobs that I had and getting work doing something else, but it was still stability. But just because you're thinking about one does not mean that you have to permanently forego the other, right? Like, it's not like you're gonna, like, cack tomorrow, you know? I mean, it's also not like you're not going to. Life's just like that sometimes, right? But what I mean is, like, there's no shame in it, right? In either path, there's no shame. But making a choice is what helps drive knowledge, because now you're in something and now you're learning something and you're experiencing something, and then you can decide, this works for me because X, Y, and Z, and it doesn't work for me because A, B, and C, and now I can make an informed decision about my life and myself. So confidence often comes with experience, and if you're sitting here feeling like, but I'm not using this voice to make fun of you, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling good enough to do thing, do it anyway. Like, just give it a shot and be open to the idea that you're likely going to get rejected, and it's not because of anything that's like a judgment. I mean, obviously it as an act is a judgment because they chose one person over another, but what I mean is, like, you're going to get rejected more times than not. And wow, this perspective is driving me nuts. Maybe I should just tone it down a little bit. But having that expectation of, like, if this happens, then great, I will keep going, which is hard to do, understandably. But it makes it hurt a little less if it happens, and then it makes it feel more exciting if it does. So, there's a lot of stuff in concept art and storyboarding and studios in general, but it's also highly competitive. I went to a talk once, and I don't remember exactly what this was for, but I think I was at I was at CTN Expo, which is an animation creative talent network. I think they also do movie stuff, but it's in Burbank in California, so it's like basically artists and filmmakers. Sorry, I had such a brain fart there. And mostly in animation though. But there was somebody who was talking, and he was one of the few kind of studios that exclusively did movie posters. And he was talking about how it started off with just him, and he was getting gigs and it was working out, but then he started getting a little more popular. So he brought a bunch of his friends on, and so there were like 7 of them working on just getting these posters. And these were posters that you were going to see at bus stops across the United States or on billboards or whatever. And these were for big movies, and I think they ended up doing a couple of Marvel ones and some other things. And he was talking about how, as far as people doing his specific job, there were maybe 100 people, like, who did that job specifically. Not at his studio, but the whole industry, just doing movie posters. And that's only 100 people. Which may seem like a lot, but if that's the whole industry and you only do that, then anytime there's a job opening, hey, we need posters for our new toy line or our new movie coming out, or whatever. That's 100 people rushing to get that, right? It might even be more now, because that was like 8 years ago that I went and saw that. So it's the same for all these other ones, and this isn't to be discouraging, but this is to open up the understanding that it is highly competitive, because for every one job, there's like a lot of people who want that job. And they're all hunting right now in the creative field. And so I don't know if you were on I think this was on Dan's stream the other day, Dan Warren. but he was talking about trying to find work in places that have a degree of necessity. So like storyboarding for commercials or for um student film projects, which like they don't pay great if they pay, but keep looking because there are some that do, and many seniors end up getting like a budget from their school, which is pretty interesting. Um, I helped out a student of mine with one of those once, and that was fun. That was a really good piece. I should check in on him. But um, also with like in advertising, it's not all technical graphic design, boring, boring, boring. Though if you like graphic design, then you're in a great spot. Um, but there are people who need like, hey, we need a picture of uh the Cleopatra from the Monster High universe, and we need her holding up a mirror so that way the opening of the mirror becomes the opening of the box so you can look in and see the toy. Like it's somebody's job to draw that. And so Hasbro, Mattel, all these toy companies, these are great places to check. But then also, who else needs things like that, right? There are small studios that do comics for storyboarding, and you can find a few of them floating around. One second. And then there's sorry, I gotta switch up this song. I know you can't hear it, but I can, and it is distracting. Um, and then there's also things like there's your technical and industrial design stuff. There are comics out there who are looking for work. Reddit has been fairly helpful for me to find just one shots, not like one shot comics, but those are there. But like, draw my character picking their nose or whatever, that's a thing. And Reddit's been pretty helpful. Again, really competitive, so you gotta like be out there and you gotta be checking it regularly. You can set up your Google alerts to check in for like hiring X, Y, or Z. You might end up with like kind of a lot of notifications, but that's also a good thing because then you can sift and pick and choose, right? So your Google alert set up to, I have one set to hiring character designers because I wanted to do that for a while until I realized I kind of don't. I still haven't turned off that alert, so I'll get emails that are like, "Hey, hiring for this thing at X, Y, and Z." A lot of the time, what I end up getting is like a news article about like Riot is hiring these things, which means that now we can speculate on the game they're doing, which is always kind of funny. But there's also I wouldn't go to like ArtStation. I think that they are dying, and you can kind of tell. But there are other job boards. Entertainmentcareers.com has a lot of stuff. And the great thing about a lot of these jobs is that there is some overlap. So if you have a lot of illustrations, depending on your approach, that could overlap into quite a bit of what I listed. It can overlap into illustration work for adverts. It could be for concept art. There's not a ton of overlap for everything, so like I can't take all the characters I do and start saying, hey, I'm good at typography and props, because I haven't shown anything that's typography and I don't really draw a lot of props. But some people set up portfolios specifically to have different things to focus on. So they'll have a portfolio for storyboarding and illustration and this and that, and those are different portfolios that they then share when they're ready to hunt for a different job. This is floating, and not a lot of people do it a whole lot, but if you're a shark and there's meat in the water, you gotta go get it, right? So having it available can be helpful. I used to go to the websites for a bunch of different mostly indie too. Like I'd be looking at like indie game companies like WayForward or what's that new one? It's like D-Pad or something, the Owlboy people. And just like check, are you hiring? Can we do that? I don't know where you live, but if there are networking events, those are fun to go to. You just got to go there with the expectation of making friends and just being ready to share stuff if people ask, or like if the opportunity arises, or if there's online opportunities. Um, if you want storyboarding, if you're not connected with women in animation, their newsletter can be really helpful. And despite the name, it's not just for women, so it's just, they just want to be supportive. Part of their thing is to put a spotlight on women in animation, but like they've got a whole thing going on. The Creative Talent Network is also, I think they've got some stuff going on too. They're a little weird, but they're good. Um, and then I know that a couple of people that we sort of chill with on online all have different ways that they handle stuff. And I don't know where you live, but if there are conventions nearby you and you've got a portfolio and you can print it out or bring it on your iPad or something, some cards, and you go there and you chat up with some other artists and you chat up with people who are there to show their work off, or if there's a company showing things there. Depending on the kind of convention, there are occasionally places for portfolio review that may be a little bit more specialized, but otherwise there's like a whole bunch of stuff. New York, so you definitely are going to have some places out there. New York is like a comic central too, isn't it? Like comics and marketing. There's a lot of stuff out that way. Um, and I'm not saying that like it makes it easy to find these things, because it's super not. It's really difficult to find things, and also to get there before the carcass has already been ravaged. Um, but it's you've got options, and it takes a bit of bravery to jump in there and do it. It is really difficult. Hmm. Um, my understanding is that not a lot of places. Actually, no. The moment I started talking about that, I realized I was wrong. Um, my understanding is that certain industries, not a lot of places hire in studio artists, but that might mostly just be comics. Do I even like these lines? I don't think I do. Here, let me try something here. Maybe if I do something like this, I can make it look like it's really dark in there. Okay. Yeah, it's starting to make a little more sense. But, I mean, please take all my advice with a grain of salt here. Um, because again, like I've not worked at any major studios. A lot of what I'm repeating, some of it is from personal experience trying to hunt things down myself. Um, and some of it is based off of like having spoken to a lot of other people about things and just hearing other people talk about their experience. So it's I can only speak as sort of a third party here, but forging, there it is. Um, a path is always difficult. Even when there's one that's already been trekked, it's different for every artist, no matter what. Ah, there we go. I hope what I'm saying is like helpful and I'm not like completely talking out of my ass. Can I ask, like, um, do you feel like having other eyes on your work and some feedback could be helpful. Because like I feel like sometimes artists get sort of stuck in their head about things, and it tends to feed that safety net of anxiety. And if you ever feel like you need to get like out of that, like, and just get some feedback, you can hit me up. I'm not like an absolute master or anything, but I am another set of eyes, and I know what art looks like. So, and I'm a teacher, and I like to think that that helps. I don't like all these lines. Yeah. Um, are we connected on Disc? I don't think you and I are connected on Discord. Um, which I forget. Are you in Ryan's, or are you in Dan's, or are you in Dave's? That was just like a collection of the whitest names ever. Yeah, we just need a mat. And then it might make it easier, so I'm not like sharing my Discord name publicly. And that way I can just like hit you up, and then you can hit me up, and we can talk about art. It'll be lots of fun. Gosh, where are my windows? Where's my life? Okay, all three. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna like let's just go to Ryan's. I'm just gonna put my name there, and you can just like do. I'm gonna put a little smiley somewhere, and that way you don't have to go hunting. I'm just gonna go into the Great Hall in Ryan's disc, and you can just do the thing where you friend it or whatever. Does that make sense? Am I just like making shit up? I might be making shit up. I'm okay with making shit up. Making shit up's fun. That's why I'm an artist. Oh shit. I used the wrong tool again. Ugh, I don't like that. Okay. Oh my gosh, excuse me, sorry. I didn't mean to belch like that. I'll do it better next time. Um um so like give me an idea here. Whether you do it here or when you hit me up, but give me an idea of like what are the things about your work that you like? What are the things about your work that you wish you could be doing better? And what direction, if you had all the time in the world, do you feel like would give you the most joy? Probably. And it's okay if you don't have an answer for some of this, by the way. It just kind of helps me kind of understand where you're at. Yeah, okay, that's already looking a lot better. I don't love the lines down there, but I shall deal. Man, I kind of wish I had a beer. I almost got one earlier too. I was out and I was thinking about it, and I was like, nah, I'll be fine. Now I'm sitting here thinking, like, you know what? Would have been nice. Oh well, I don't need it. Pulled out some trash. Why is that there? Chicken Strike doesn't like tiramisu. Chicken Strike. Oh, okay. Sorry, I know that chat can't see this. I was in a Discord. We were making jokes about food themed days, and Chicken Strike talking about. Oh no. Y'all ever have worms and dirt? Worms and dirt's good. For those who don't know, it's chocolate pudding with crumbled up Oreos in it and gummy worms. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted. Where are my windows at? Okay. I've returned. I'm back to it. Okay. Uh, what if I just black this out completely? Would that be? Yeah, and then we can just. Yes, yes, good. Oh, wrong one. Even that out, so it's a little like garbage. Okay. I don't remember clicking this tool. Oh, shoot. There we go. Wrong color again. Lines don't help with their erasing. Some good choices there. I love Otomo. Him and Tezuka, like, they're so very different from each other, but, like, I think I'd be surprised if Otomo wasn't a fan, too, but at his age, he kind of grow up with all the stuff that Tezuka did, so it's kind of an automatic influence like Disney is for us. Yeah, Dave's insane. Honestly, like, all three of them, Dave, Dan, and Ryan, fabulous work. Three very different artists. Um, I'm avoiding. I have more things to add. But I'm avoiding it because I'm feeling like I don't really want to draw hands right now. All right, so you're heavily influenced by a lot of artists. So what about your work while you're doing it? Do you enjoy doing the most? Like, and I don't mean like specifically like big broad things. It can be small little things like I just really like putting fingernails. It brings the whole hand together. I don't really, it's just there's a lot of aspects to art that kind of feed into the fun. So you want to end up going down the if you're going down their career path. My understanding of it is primarily concept design, right? Like I know Dan's doing some or recently did some anyway, uh illustration work, arguably painting to be fair, like really just for a company that does like shirts and posters and stuff. But that's still concept to a degree. Um I don't know if you'd agree with that or not, but um I mean, like I said earlier, comics are basically just more illustration and a lot of them together, and that's essentially what Dave Raposa was doing recently too with his Veil comic, and what they're both doing with Steve Lichtman. And so getting into concept design um sort of feeds that. Sorry, this song's really distracting too. I'm gonna skip that over. It's like a lot of noises. There we go. So let me ask you. Might be a and please let me know if any of these questions are too invasive. But here's a blunt one. Um, when you do concept design, are you having fun? And I'm gonna wait for an answer before I say anything else on that. Unless you don't want to answer, which is also fine. I think his eyes are too close together here. He's supposed to be a little far apart. Yeah, that's already better. Cool. I don't really have a model for this guy, and I really ought to make one. But he's supposed to be like thick. I think I need to move his head back too. You can understand why. You can understand why. Sorry. Sometimes I can't help but sing along. I know you guys can't hear it. Storytelling, yeah. I love it too. So you do some concept. But like, are you having fun? And this isn't like a judgment on your work. I haven't seen your work yet. But I think that's an important element to zero in on. The reason why I ask is I've found, and I know this isn't just me, but this also isn't necessarily everyone. You're not sure. Okay. Things just sort of click when you're enjoying it, and the confidence grows, and the kind of ability to learn starts to shift a little bit. Your perspective on things tends to change too. You know, sometimes I do work that I find really boring, but the element at the end is what brings me joy, and so that counts as having fun. And sometimes I'm having a blast the entire way through, and other times I'm just having like a shitty time all the time every day. I'm somewhere in between here. Like these beginning stages of piecing together these pages, I'm having a lot of fun with, um, including with the frustration and stuff. Um, and so when I tell people that I think that they should find the fun, what I mean is like really ruminate on that a little bit. Like, what is it about what you're doing that would be fun for you to do and still fit in with what you need it to be? Yeah, iterating stuff over, it's true. Um, but the thing with comics too is like if you're doing it all like this, like I did the layouts, I'm doing the pencils, and I'm doing the inks. I'm doing every page at least 3 times. Um, he's looking way too human here. Um, but each time is a little different. Layouts is figuring out the actual storytelling, pencils is corrections and then tightening everything up, and then inks is inking, which is its own beast, and I love inking. Um, but oh, when you're doing concept design, you know, you got to tell a story through the illustration itself. It's a single one time thing, right? So um it's starting to get to a point where like if I were to see your work, I could give you a bit more solid like um uh advice, I think, or at least like trajectory input, whatever you want to call it. There we go. Starting to look like himself. So it looks like he's holding it really close to his face though. Do I care? I don't know. I'll move this arm. Um all right. I will be right back. I've got to use the restroom. Sorry to be blunt and straightforward here. I know it's TMI, but you simply must know. Please alert the media. I will be right back. But let me also just do it. Oh, I should save. Do that first, and then I'm gonna mute this. I will be right back. I'm more than happy to keep chatting about this, but please let me know if I start rambling a little bit. Because I'm kind of pulled in a million different ways today. It's like I said earlier, the ADHD is real and the medication is not. I'll return. Okay, I'm back. Surprise! It's me! Wow, I haven't dropped any frames. I'm honestly a little bit surprised by that. The internet up here is usually not so great. Hi, Winnemere. Sorry, the dog. Um, but I'm glad for it. Because, streaming helps me focus. Oh, you're so needy, dog. Look at you. Stop petting her for like a quick half a second, and she's like, no, no, no. Good thing I don't have to draw with both hands. Yeah, finishing can be. So that's the thing, like, there's a lot of different methods for painting too, and so like once you kind of cue into how you function and you're able to adjust to work with that, um, like I feel like this part of the journey TM is it takes a lot of mindfulness and self-awareness, and it's hard to get into that. It's a tough thing to do. I'm starting to sound like Adam Duff a little bit. I don't know if you like follow a lot of other internet YouTubers or internet YouTubers, artist YouTubers or not, but if you haven't checked out Adam Duff's channel, Lucid Pixel, he's a very therapy forward speaker. Um, but he addresses a lot of the same things that I have in much more in depth and very what's the word, contemplative fashions. Plus his artwork's like really cool. Um, but yeah. So I think the biggest thing I want to say on this, and this I guess it's like the biggest grain of salt in everything. Hello, Ruth. Welcome to the chat. But it's the biggest thing I want to say in all of this, without having really taken a deep look at your artwork, is that everything I'm talking about is just me telling you things, right? Anything that any artist says is just them telling you things. And art sort of begs for the experience, for the learning to happen, and for the connection to happen. And so, by doing, you are then exploring and you are learning more about yourself, about your work, how you function, what you want, all those things. I can tell you all day, and I may or may not be right about some of these things. But the moment that you start to do and connect with your process and everything, that's where the real magic starts to happen, and that's where the real understanding comes in, right? Feedback is great. Talking to people is great. I'm not saying don't do those things. But when you do, you learn. And learning is half the battle. So welcome, Ruth. How are you this fine Monday afternoon to evening, presumably? I mean, I guess it's like probably pretty close to night somewhere. How many fingers did I get this guy? I'm doing well. Um, yeah, and Jacobo, please, yes, please send me your stuff. Uh, I am on all the discords that you're on. Uh, just hit me up individually there. I don't want to put my disc in the chat. And Ruth, I am doing lovely. I am working on this is a freelance comic book gig I'm working on. Um and I'm just getting the pencils in. So like I know everything's like dark and black and everything, but these are pencils, I promise. I will be inking this eventually. Today it's just pencils. Getting a grasp on where I want my lighting source to come from. I think I kind of want it focused in here a little more. Shrink that. Aha! There you are. Ending. Oh, you know what? I don't know why I didn't think that that was you. It's so weird. Everybody's got different aliases for everything, and so like I'll see like um one person in one Discord, and then they'll be chatting on a YouTube channel with me together, and I won't make the connection that that's the same person. So yeah, yeah. Send me your stuff. I wish to see. Okay. So Jacobo, before I look at your stuff, not before you send it whenever. Is this something that you want private, or are you cool with me doing it on stream? Like, I want to make sure that I'm not like making critique uncomfortable. It's already a process. Okay, all right. So you've had it hardcore before. Let me just finish up this hair here. I'm trying to give him kind of like kabuki hair. Not really any reason for it aside from the fact that I think it looks cool. And I think it suits him. He is a villainous intellect, but also a violent, violent man. Because he's the bad guy. Let me just throw in some. Yeah. Okay, cool. And let's save this. After that, do not save. Thank you, Ruth. Okay, so there we go. Are you an artist too, Ruth? Doodling's fun. I love doodling. That's good. I think it's healthy. like for everybody who feels so inclined to do so. I would like to apologize, Ruth, for the silent stream as far as music's concerned. I'm out of town from my usual work setup for a few weeks, and um, I haven't gone through and like vetted anything today, so like I don't want to get like struck down. The next time I stream, I'll have music, which will probably be tomorrow. Might not be till Wednesday. Cool. I also kind of figure it gives you guys a chance to listen to your own stuff. I tend to throw on like metal and stuff while I work on stream because I found like an artist who is so very kindly given open permission to play their albums without getting any takedowns. Forgot who they are. I gotta look them up. They were really good. I just didn't today. Okay. There we go. You guys do anything fun this past weekend? Yeah, please actually send it to Discord. Because I don't think you're allowed to send links in chat. I haven't really set anybody up able to do that except for Ryan. Guess I could just copy paste it. Either way is fine. I haven't drawn a whole lot of them recently. There's a couple personal ones I've done. I've got one right now I'm working on in particular, but this is my first professional comic book gig I've had in a long time, and it's certainly the first one I've ever done for somebody else, which is a really nice change of pace. It's a bit more takes the pressure off a little bit, I think. There's a different kind of pressure on, but I mean I'm cool with that. I was just telling Jacobo, I come from a background of kind of like seeking a lot of different pathways and only really coming into connection with one over the last like year and a half to a year. Like I want to study tattoo work too, but the problem is that when you are an apprentice, it takes a long time before you can start making money off of it, and I don't currently have the time to do that. And I figured I'd be able to get comic book work faster than getting an apprenticeship and hoping for the best. So hopefully through this year I'll have time to study that too. But yeah. But I come from working all sorts of illustration, freelance, and I guess not all sorts, but a lot of illustration, a lot of character design. I've done storyboards. Not for anybody impressive, as far as studios and stuff is concerned, but like I'm not gonna sit here like, ah, yes, Nickelodeon. I've never worked for anybody like that. Probably coulda, but I was scaled. And now that I'm finally not so scaled, the animation industry looks like it's about to implode. Okay. Hey, thank you. Okay, I shall click. And I'm going to save this. And let's set this aside for now. Make a new one. Let's make this not so ginormous. Okay. So, you've got concept, illustration, and animation. Let's look at concept since that's the thing you seem the most interested in pursuing. If I move this over, will you see it? I don't think you will. Oh, it would help if I had this stuff up. What am I doing? Yeah, okay. Oh, it does show. Look at that. Okay, cool. I figured it wouldn't because I usually have it set to a different thing, but again, I'm on a different computer, so okay. So beep, 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 beep. That's kind of entertaining to watch it shrink while I do that. Okay. So let's look at Chocobo's stuff. Okay. This is really cool. I like this. So, to be clear, salt. I'm not a concept design professional. It's not something I really dabbled a whole lot into because this kind of painting work I didn't really start to connect with until very, very recently. That said, oh, that's fun. I like him. I hope what I share, because it's not that dissimilar from other kinds of portfolios in terms of what people look for. That's cool. That's Dune. It's recognizable. Okay. So, right off the bat, in your portfolio, as far as like things I'm seeing that I think would be useful to have, you have what appears to be two different groups of projects, with this one of the heads where the difference between each head is just the eyes. This one a continuation of the same character, and then this one with the outfits and the it seems to be like versions of a person through their story. And then these two, which don't appear to be connected to either. He may be connected to these guys, and then Dune, and then Dune, and then Dune. Right? So, first and foremost, I think it's great that you have stuff that looks like it's connected to a single project. That's going to be a very useful thing. I don't think that they all have to be, but I think that when you have a lot that are, it shows commitment. It shows that you are thinking the same way that a studio would want to be thinking about things, in terms of like, you know, they're going to have you on one project, so they want to see that you can commit to that and spend a lot of time on it. And I think what this really could use is a bit more variation. Like these two, for example, this one individually, the difference is just the eyes and the eyebrows, right? But what if different head shapes? What if different teeth types? And they don't all have to be painted like this. If you ever look at other concept design portfolios, There's a lot of just like flat gray work or single colors, and then they commit to painting like one of them on the same page, right? And in that respect, when you scroll down to the next version where we're looking at outfits, right? I don't think we need to see this one again. It's already up above, right? Um, and so I know that the idea is like, well, this is the one that you're choosing to lean on and going for it. But I mean, by virtue, it'll show that that's what we landed on, right? And then like just a little bit more finishedness, like put both legs in, right? Finish your hands. They don't all have to be as painted and finished as the face, but like that rendering is like really excellent. And if you were to do, for example, concept, different heads, concept outfit, final, this is the one, like not her, but like another one where and that's the one that you put all the effort in the painting and the texture and everything into, and everything else above is a bit more like hers where it's a little flatter, or these guys where it's a little flatter, like you're just getting the idea down, right? Clarity is important. Polish, not as much. It kind of just depends on where you put it. Not every single piece in your portfolio is itself going to be a gallery masterpiece, but they are going to be things that lead to one, right? Like, that's my understanding of it. And then I really love this idea that the coagulated blood is an outfit. I think that's very clever. Finish her hands. And then when you switch to another project, I think it's more of the same ideas. Like here we've got like this dude's outfits, and then kind of working through everything here. And this is where clarity comes into play. Like I'm loving these textures and the ridging and the open cloth, like the silhouettes with the shapes you're doing with these cloths with the texture. That contrast is great. I don't know that you need to paint them quite so finished until you land on one that you want to show off as like, this is the one that my quote-unquote director chose, right? Because when you're working for a studio, you're working for an assembly line and they want them fast. They don't need them finished fast. They need concepts fast, and then they'll finish one. Again, salt. Like this in here, this page, that's awesome. It's exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, these are huge. Oops. Whoa, hey, don't do that. That's not what I wanted. It would help if I wasn't so... There we go. Yeah, I'm being able to like zoom in here. It's a little bit big. This is a fine size. Finish him hair. You can do that. Oh, come on. Do the thing I want. This guy, right here. You can finish his hair, right? And then, I think some variation in color, too. Like, I think this is definitely a, bit of a stylistic thing, where you're leaning on a lot of these muted colors and, pale lighting. But if you can vary your hues a little bit here, like here you have a lot of these warm shadows, right? That's awesome. And then in here, I think the gray really fits to her because she's clearly like very villain, possibly vampire, certainly not healthy. And it works for him for the same reason, like all these cools and stuff. And then we get down to these guys are fine. This dude, he lives in a desert, right? And so you want to have something that shows that you can spread out a little bit too. But honestly, like all that said, I feel like your work is solid enough that you could get work doing stuff now. It's just a matter of having a strong portfolio, which is always a weird balance to find, right? I like this. Oh, I like this. Oh my gosh. I'm so used to being able to zoom in. This guy's face, I really like. A little more on the shoulder would be cool, but that's like, because I want it, because I think it looks cool. But, so, I hope that was useful. Let's look at your illustrations. I'm gonna check chat real quick, see how you guys are holding up. Character, they're always very basic or too complicated. Yeah, honestly, like, character work is, kind of funky. You gotta find that balance, right? Usually, the key, I find, is just starting simple and then adding more complication that will eventually find balance. So it's easier to add to things than it is to keep going back and forth, like add more, add less, add more, add, like if you start complicated, you're not gonna. So like, you're an assassin, all right? You're learning to be an assassin. You want to start broad, right? Big strokes, big stuff. You're gonna earn the small things. I was gonna make a Leon the Professional analogy because like you start with the gun and you earn the knife, but anyway, okay, yeah. I remember this piece. This was a fun one. It's a tough one. This killer loved it. So for illustration, oh nice. This one I think is your strongest one between them. It's because the composition is really like solid. I like the extra like tearing, like it's an old poster. That's fun. I would love it as a on a technical level as a portfolio if this was like smaller images so I can like choose to zoom in and out so I don't have to scroll through like this. So the people who are looking at your portfolio are like they're looking at so many people and they don't want to spend a lot of time. So if these are smaller and then they can click it and it's a little bigger, then they can like go. So I see a lot of brush strokes, like a lot of these textures. And I'm not pointing that out as a bad thing. I think it's awesome. I really love the texture that you've gotten here. It does take a lot of work to do that, and I wonder, do you go in with shapes and then just build, sculpt, or do you have like a really really thrown together like how loose do you start? How tight do you start when you get your illustration in? Yeah, this is really cool. I like the embossedness of these pieces in here, like that, like the way it's raised out and dug in looks really cool. A little detail thing like having some dirt going in front of his feet here would really help make it feel as lived in as everything else. Like all these ridges and like cuts and broken bits of paper and things, it's all like looking awesome. It feels like he's been around places and gone through some things. And just get a little bit on here, just a little dirt. A little dirt would be good. And I see you say it's loose. It's textured. I would not argue that it's all that loose. Like, there's certainly looseness. This one's really loose comparatively, right? This one's got some loose spots, but like your work's really like tight and considered. I think sometimes your contrast is a little like heavy, and if, for some pieces like this one, like having the bright intensity is very good and very useful, but sometimes you need something a little bit more mellowed out too to allow for some of the softness or the color to come in. Yeah, no, Jacobo's awesome. Um this one's fun. So yeah, no, you weren't kidding about detail and stuff, right? Like all these extra bits in here. So I think this one's a good example of what I'm talking about with the dramatic lighting, both working for and against you a little bit. So like, I'm gonna copy this, copy, and I'm gonna go into Hither, and I'm gonna paste, and I'm gonna, there it is. Okay. So, all right. So it's working for you here because it's a dramatic moment. You've got all this light like framing oh god, I know his name. I know it. Because we got Wolverine here. This is oh, it's gonna bug me. Anyway, this guy's face. And then there's a couple spots where the dramatic lighting is so much so that it adds a little something that maybe was unintentional. So if I were to grab, for example, here we go. No, not that one. Yeah, that one. Let's get this out of the way. So like, big thing here. We have like the seam coming around this way, and then vein cut? Unsure. It's not that it shouldn't be there at all, but let's tone it down a little bit so it doesn't interfere with the parts that are telling the story here. If you want to add more story between him and fighting Wolverine, then cuts, bruises, things. Sabretooth, thank you. Yes. So you start loose and then build. Cool. Okay. So I hope that this doesn't come off as like negative, because it's not negative, but I want to point out that when you say that you start loose and then build up, I can kind of tell, and it's not like a bad thing. It's simply a thing. In terms of like all this in here, like this is, I think, one of your stronger pieces as far as like pulling all your shapes together and stuff, right? But when you start really loose and then tighten as you go, as you paint, there's a degree of problem solving that you rely on, that you'll figure it out as you go, and it starts to lose shape sometimes when you hyper focus into some areas and not in others. And very clearly to me, it's mostly not a problem. On occasion it fights against you. I think on that the woman in purple, it was fighting against you a bit. But I wanna share some ideas on what you can do as a thought, but I'll get back to that. I'm gonna circle back around to it. So I'm gonna go back to this real quick. So if you take your lighting, I know some of these colors are a little off because of the you have this like grainy thing going on, which, so don't mind the colors please while I do this, but I'm just dumbing down some of the contrast in here, right? And I'm gonna do the same in here. I know what this is. I know that his pecs ends down here, and this is all that the ridging and things in between. But if you make them a little bit less intense or a little smaller, a little bit less crazy, I don't think crazy is a good word for it either, but like just like it's still present but not as defined. That's the word I was looking for. It makes it read more, right? This one here I think you can get away with because of the wrinkles, but I'm going to tone it down a little bit too. And there you go. And there's almost a tangent there. It's not, but it's close enough that it feels a little connected. But if you were to take this moment to then separate them a little further, have them end a little sooner, you'll end up with some of that like separation still there, but not as intense. And then you have these in here, which I think that's the cloth kind of cutting across and things. So if you, whoops, like find your lighting and do less. Come on, why is this so small? There we go. It can feel like it's not getting rid of some of that definition that you added. And even just like small areas, like just a subtle little bob. Why is that gray? There's a warm one. You. Okay. There, I'm gonna let's do this. I'm not gonna fight the grains here. I like the grains, I like the texture, but we're teaching right now. Okay? So we're gonna just sum that up real quick. Why is my opacity so low? What's wrong with me? So if the concern was having the abs here, would feel like not like cloth enough, so you make that crease in the middle less defined and it flattens it out, right? So get my mid-tone, which I'm hoping is this, and just go a little softer on it. That's one way to do it. Adding some of these but going straight across is another, because once it's there, the brain will figure out the rest. So the other way that it's also fighting against you too is like, we can get some more light in here. That's not the blender. And I think some more color too. Like he's a human being, and I know that he's like, you know, got powers and stuff, but it's cold out. Frozen in the winter. Like, it's crazy. So, throw a little warmth in there. One of my favorite details about impressionistic work, and I know this isn't impressionism, but I'm going somewhere, is that when they're working with color, if they want something to be vibrant, they'll only use a little. I don't necessarily want this to be vibrant. I don't think he needs to be like yellow. I'm just choosing a color based off of whatever. But that small amount of saturation going into his face brings the focus up, right? There we go. There we go. Just a little bit fleshier, a little peachier for him up here. Not even everything, but that little bit of color can go a long way. In the same vein, if you were to take this contrast and you need a third tone, right? So we have our big yellow and orange guy here, right? We have all these blues in the background here. Feels very cold, very wintered, right? So if you want to make this stand out more for this composition for Wolverine, we'll pretend like I did a better job of this. Hang on, let me take a moment to finish pretending that I did a better job of that. Okay. What if you were to desaturate it a bit? Because I know like blue, you got your warm character, your cool character, so you want it to stand out, but if it's the same blues as the background, it doesn't stand out. I think your uses of grays and more desaturated colors would lend itself to the hand there very, very well, because if it's more neutral, then it's warmer than the blue, even though it's not neutral, because it's colder than Sabretooth, right? But this way, it's there, it's blocked in. So this dramatic lighting is also kind of messing a little bit here, because the the gray tones, the desaturated tones, the values, that was the word, that are meeting at the hand and at this tree are really similar. They're not exactly the same, but they're close. So if I were to, like, as an example here, where'd my mouse go? There we go. I don't remember which one of these it is. Let's find out. Oh, wait, you know what? Saturation. Ah, there we go. So it's winter. It's cold. So you could use the lighting to your favor and throw some wrong one. Some lighter tones on the hand itself and like brighten it up and make it easier to see. It doesn't have to be that bright. Or with the winter, with the way things are, if you were to say, how do I? Wait. Let's reselect. No, I have to do it again. Okay, let's pretend like I did a really good selecting this time. Normal. Fine. La 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 la. And invert. If I were to take some of these lighter tones here that you have, and just throw like a little bit up here, not even a lot, just like a quick bop. I know it's a slightly greener blue than what you've got up here, so I'm gonna warm it up a little. There we go. Bam, and it fits. Like it's all still the same. You still have that contrast. There's this degree of implication of the color. Maybe we could go back here a little bit, make him stand out more, but like I don't think you necessarily have to do that either, right? So, circling back around, starting loose, tightening as you go. Do you oil paint? Have you ever oil painted? Because that's a very common, I don't know about very common, but it's definitely a well trot path for oil painters to work that way. But there's a deliberateness. I always mess up that word. Anyway, there's a deliberateness that comes with each sort of stroke, like very like alla prima, go in wet, build your sketch, go on top, right? So it's like what I was saying earlier, like big, broad strokes, right? So a couple times in college. Okay. So I'm going to turn this back on normal and let's get rid of stuff. Okay. I have a picture and I'm gonna start it and I'm going to use, I'll just use the same, no wait, I want to use, what do I want? More money. When do I want it? Right now. Yeah, you know, I'll just use the same one. It's fine. I'll just use this hard round. So the hard round brush, fine. So first I'm going to make this into a tone because I can. Oops. Let's try that again. Bam. Oh, ew, ew. I don't like that. Close enough. Okay, toned. Cool. All right. So, and let's just say I have a rough idea. Like, okay, I know I want him here. The only reason why I can do this as fast is because I'm literally looking at your drawing. I just made him look like Snake out in a storm. Like, yeah. Okay. All right. I'll just stop there. So, if you ever watch like oil painters, they'll kind of throw something loose together like this too, and then come in and find like, okay, so and we'll pretend like I'm looking at a reference or I have something. And the thing I want you, the next time you do a piece, I have some stipulations for you. I want you to find a color palette, like a limited palette, and avoid black. Avoid it till the very, very end. Use it as like some touch-ups or something. Like either a palette or like just start with like limited gray tones, right? And avoid black. And the reason is you rely on it very heavily. And I think that if you were to step away from it, it'll give you a chance to see how it affects your work to have it in there, and how to see how you can use it to make things pop. It'll give you a little more room for some subtlety. It's either that or step away from painting and lean into black and try something that's just ink work. So right now I'm just laying in, like, I'm plotting where I want things to be, maybe a bit darker. Again, I'm looking at your picture as a reference, so I have an easier time picking and choosing because of that, right? But references are very, very good, and I would recommend them for anybody all the time. I would be a hypocrite not to. But the thing with alla prima, so I think it literally means wet on wet, but it is a physical media technique to essentially go in with as few strokes as possible to start laying out your painting. Start all broad strokes and start to zero in. So now I'm gonna start to remove some color. I want to try to stay within the same family for now, so I'm not like focusing too much on hues. I don't want to choose white necessarily because it'll pale it out. I mean, this is pale, and you could do white. I'm choosing not to because I'm picky at what I look at. So the reason why I'm referencing oil painting though, like I know you're saying that it's not your main thing, is because your technique and the way that your pieces look to me feels very reminiscent. At the very least, the end product and the building and the fine tuning and all of that. And I think that you may find it useful to look into it and start to apply some of the limitations of painting, oil painting or acrylic or whatever, to your work. And what I mean by applying limitations is digital is infinite. You can do anything. You can figure out anything. You can fix any mistake, and you can sit there and plot and plan and sculpt and redo. And over time, it gets a little difficult to separate that ability from efficiency. I know I'm working really, really loosely here still. I'm kind of just picking away at it. But even just this small amount, like waiting until I have my midtones and everything down, like to help find these plots, sort of, to me, helps a lot. I don't like that there. Look at that limitation I just did. Oh my gosh. Oh, the thing I just said I didn't want to do. I'm not gonna like sit and paint like a whole thing here because like that would take hours and I do have like to get back to work. But I hope what I've been saying not only makes sense but is helpful. I really like these colors though on this piece. Like I really like the way that you finished this out for him. He looks great. Oh, it's getting hot in here. And so now when I'm adding color, and we're pretending like I did a good job with everything else. See how like, so white and black desaturate, right? Like no matter what, it's not going to make anything brighter necessarily, but it will make it lighter. It's not going to make anything more vivid as you get darker, but it is going to make it darker. But you come in here with just like a little bit of color, just a couple of small spots right nearby a highlight, and the whole thing shifts. So like, I don't know if these shoulder pads are meant to be purple or brown. I'm gonna go with brown. So if I come in with like a rough orange, that's not orange. Anyway, but those are my main notes here. Is as far as like broad strokes, whole portfolio. You need more work that is less work to do, and you need a little bit more diversity of shapes, form, composition, stuff like that. And then as far as like individual pieces, less is more too. Like you really didn't need that much stuff on his outfit. I'm not saying that it doesn't look good, because it does. But if you're feeling lost, these are places that you can break away, right? But as far as painting's concerned, like man, it like is really good. Here, let me just like the difference here. Oh, try that again. What is this one? Oh yeah, okay, cool. So let me flatten that too. So like, let me just like show you the difference here, like outside of my doodle. Like for him, I really didn't do very much at all. I don't like that the color I chose for his upper peck here is like gray, but yeah, okay. Yeah, I could. Yeah, let me just. Do you want me to send it to you just like this as is, or do you want the like army doodle in there too? I'll send you. I'll send you everything here. Oh, it says it's too big. Okay, 1 second. Let's make this. Make it that. There's one. And There's 2. Sent. And let's go back a little bit. And let's get rid of this. And let's get rid of this. And let's do that again. Where'd it go? There it is. What did I do? 144. And clickety clackety, crack-a-lackin', and send. So, color theory is weird. I think that you've got a strong sense of values, but you lean towards dark, and that's where I think you should sort of try to shift around, add, you know, do a piece where the ratio of light to dark is very different from another piece or another. But for color theory, like to move away from desaturation, just remember what your contrasts are, right? Like if warm and cool are contrasting each other, then what's in between will also contrast the both of them too. So your neutral colors will contrast both cool and warm, because we see with our brains, and your brain wants to fill in color. So the very nearly totally gray tone of the fist here doesn't feel so gray compared to Sabretooth. Like if I were to take a block of this. Now I'm just going on about this because I'm interested in it. I think color theory is fascinating. If I scoot this over, it feels really blue. But if I move it over here, it feels very warm. Doesn't feel red, doesn't feel brown, but it does feel warm. I just think that's neat. Okay. So that's all sent. Alright, cool. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. What was I doing? Yeah, okay. Okay. I need to feed the dogs and make something to eat. So I don't know if I'm gonna come back and stream after that, but I might. I'm just gonna kind of wing it. But I do need to go do those things. So, if you ever like need extra eyes on whatever you're drawing ever again, just like hit me up. Like I'm more than happy to do that. It's just kind of an open invite. And I'm gonna go take care of those things. Thank you guys for joining me on this semi-experimental stream. I don't know if I'm streaming tomorrow, but I certainly am on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, probably. More than likely. Definitely next week for sure. And yeah, thank you for joining me, guys. I had fun. I feel like I have something else I'm supposed to be saying, but I really can't think of what it is. I am so brain dead today. I'm gonna go eat food. I'm gonna give my brain some fuel. Have a lovely rest of your Monday, guys. And I'll be around. I just might not be streaming. And yeah, thank you for coming.